This is the plaintiff, George Mall. He says his house was badly damaged in Hurricane Sandy, and the defendant was hired to raise his house higher to prevent damage from another storm in the future. In raising his house, the defendant caused damage to his floors, which are now cracked, and to his kitchen tiles, which have fallen off the counter. He refuses to repair the damages he caused, and after much trying on his own to get him to do the right thing, he's suing for the $3,227.55 it's now going to cost him for the repairs. This is the defendant, Joseph Tremarco. He says the state paid to raise this man's house, and the job cost $300,000, of which the plaintiff paid nothing. The damages this ungrateful freeloader is claiming were caused by the hurricane, and he has some darn nerve suing him after he got this big job for free. Bottom line, he has a great track record. That's why the state hired him, and shame on this plaintiff for suing him. He's accused of raising Cain. The defendant has filed a countersuit for $1,095.88 for overpayment.
All parties, please use your right hands.
Welcome back to the People's Court. Next case in the docket. The plaintiff hired the defendant to raise his house off the ground after Hurricane Sandy almost destroying the place. Now, the plaintiff says the defendant caused lots of damage, but the defendant says the job cost $300,000 and the plaintiff paid nothing. It's the case of Rock Me Like a Hurricane.
George Mall,
Yes.
You are suing Advanced Builders and Land Development Incorporated, represented here by Joseph Tremarco. You're an owner?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. For $3,227.55 that you feel they still owe you for damages that they did to your home when doing some work. You have a counterclaim against him for the amount of an overpayment that he kept, and you acknowledge keeping, and you want that overpayment back. All right, let me talk to you first and explain to me what's going on here.
My house is in a flood zone, and after Hurricane Sandy, I was eligible to have my home raised up by New York Rising, and New York Rising hired Advanced Builders to do the work.
Can you hold on one second? I know you're keeping it simple for me, but I'm trying to understand this. So your house is in a flood zone. Where is your house?
On Eastern Long Island, on the North
Eastern
Fork.
Long Island. Mm-hmm. And what's the name of the community?
New Suffolk.
New Suffolk. And how close are you to the coastline?
I'm about 200 feet from Peconic Bay.
All right, so New York Rising is what exactly?
New York Rising is a New York State agency that was given money from FEMA to repair damages after Hurricane Sandy in October of 2012.
All right, and so the people who run New York Rising are state employees?
Yes.
And you became eligible for a program where they were going to literally raise your house up so that if there was a flood, your house wouldn't be flooded.
Yes, raise my house up and put a new foundation underneath so it would be at a higher elevation.
So that's how do you do that? How mechanically?
It's a process. You put steel beams under the house with jacks and you raise it up slowly.
But how do you get the steel beams into the house?
You break through the old foundation.
Oh, you really do.
Once it's
That's the
lifted,
process.
you pull out the old foundation, then put in a new foundation.
Wait, so those steel beams that you're putting up, it's like a forklift.
Yeah.
And it's forklifting the house,
Yeah.
and those steel beams are serious
Yes.
because they're holding the weight of a house.
Yes.
How big a house is it?
That's 1,200 square foot house.
Okay, so it's
I have pictures of it.
Yeah, let me see the pictures. All right, so that holds it, the forklift holds it up, you yank the old foundation and you put a new higher foundation.
Correct.
How long does it take you to do this job?
It takes roughly about 6 months to 8 months.
Wow. All right, the allegation on his part is that there's things that you guys damaged because you did it in a negligent manner. So let me hear about that.
Okay, so after the house was lowered back down onto the foundation, and workers came and fixed some of the damage that was in the house, such as cracks in the sheetrock and outlets that didn't work and things like that.
Now, those are because what?
From the moving of the house, I guess. I'm not an engineer, but just when the house is put back down again.
Okay, so workers came and fixed that.
It's not exactly in the same place, and it doesn't sit exactly the same way as it did. So I started to notice when I got the house back that there were still items that had been damaged when the house was lowered back down.
Okay, I have a question. When you said workers came and fixed some stuff, whose workers?
Advanced
That
Builders
company?
workers, yes.
Okay. All right. So then when you started to live in the house, you noticed more things. At this point, had you signed anything saying work is complete?
No, as a matter of fact, I gave a punch list to New York Rising with most of these items
Well,
on
but
it.
there's items missing there that you're suing on.
Some of them are, yes.
Which ones?
The window screens,
Okay.
the upstairs bathroom floor, the kitchen counter, and the backroom floor.
So that was on a punch list that you gave to Advanced when?
Early October
Of what year?
of 2017.
Do you have it so I can see when
Yes.
you gave it to them? Okay. So you give them that punch list and you expect, and do you give them this punch list after signing away that everything's fine?
I refuse.
You never signed it. Okay, now you've got something you keep waving. You're having an
Oh,
applicant
I'm sorry.
seizure
It's
over-
the same punch
Right.
list, but it just says that these items were they were there before from the program.
Okay, let me see what you got there.
I don't know if it's the same as his.
No. This is just typewriting on a screenshot of a picture. This is concerning me.
That was, well, they do everything via email, the program. They sent it to me, so I just printed it out.
Can I see the email that they sent to you? Because the problem is when you're
You
handing
have it
something in
somewhere?
court.
Yeah, he probably has it
That's
somewhere.
fine, because when you hand something in court that looks like this.
No, I know.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
I got to make sure it's authentic
Yes.
because that's my obligation to each of you to make sure people don't just get to hand me stuff.
Sure, but
so
if you-
just show
if
me
you
the
look at-
email
if-
so long as it has this, which is that's how you're saying the email came. It came
Right.
with that.
Right, and if you look at that, it says
Right.
either
Now,
existing or non-applicable, or
We're
so on
going to
and so
check
forth.
that, and assuming that this is authentic, what it's saying is, all right, replace window screens. It says that's the homeowner's obligation. Like that was part of Sandy. That's not something they did wrong.
Correct.
That's as soon as he finds that. And according to you, the subflooring separated from the ceramic tile in the upstairs bathroom. That's the big ticket item of 2000. And that, according to them, who writes the status?
This is the
New York Rising?
This is the PM, the project manager from the program that oversees
Right,
this
right, New York
gentleman's
Rising.
job.
So New York Rising says that there's no damage. Subflooring separated from ceramic tile. Okay, according to them, no damage was your program's response. Kitchen counter, cracked kitchen counter. According to them, that's previous damage, and they don't intend. Did you ever talk to New York Rising?
Yes.
Show me exactly what the program gave you in writing to say to you, you know, to respond to your complaint.
Listen.
He's saying that what they said is, are you kidding me? We raised your house, and stuff is going to crack and break when a house is raised. So it's not their negligence, and it's up to you or it's prior damage from the hurricane that we're not going to cover. That's what he says they told him. If you want to prove to me that they said something different, I need to see it.
Program never gave me a written response.
Let's put this to aside, the program to aside. Did you ever have a contractor come out and say that there's some kind of negligence in the work they did that caused the problems that you're seeing?
No, but I have one estimate that I got one estimate that said that you could hear that the tile floor separated from the subfloor, but that's
Right,
just
does it say that it's their fault?
It doesn't say that it's their fault.
Right,
No.
that's the part I need you to prove, the fault part. All right, did you guys find that email from New York Rising?
I'm digging. I know I
All
have it
right,
here
let's
somewhere.
focus on your counterclaim.
Okay.
Let him finish looking
Well,
for that.
on his property, he has a house, and he rents to the post office another little building. which is
Oh,
about-
okay.
but
So
the
it's
main-
wait, it's the town's post office is on a property you own?
Yes.
Got
Right.
it.
So the water main that went into the house, because you have to change the water main to his house, we found out it went off to the post office. So that had to be changed.
What is, it went off to the post
Well,
office?
it branched off and fed the house and the post office.
Oh, okay. So,
So-
whoever did the, was it your job
No,
to do the?
years ago that was. So when we
All
dug
right.
it up, we've seen that it branched off.
Right.
So we couldn't just change the one, which was in our scope of work for the house. We had to change the one in the post office as well. So, but anyway, when that happened, there was some dirt that I guess got in the water line and broke the water heater in the post office. Fine.
Okay.
We wanted to come back and fix this. He said he didn't want us there anymore. So he hired his plumber, and these are the receipts for that plumbing work. And in addition, we ran over a water vault. The town puts a water vault in, so we broke that, and we had to pay for that.
And that's $381.93?
Right.
All right. And what about
So-
the new hot water heater?
He paid for it. We reimbursed him.
There's no dispute about that?
No.
All right. How much did you reimburse him for the hot water heater? I want to see what you,
I think $663.93, all of those items.
Sir, do you agree he reimbursed you for the hot water heater?
Yes.
Okay. All right. So I'm looking at the bills, and here's what I see. I think there's no disagreement on this. There's a bill for $200, a bill for $85, and a bill for $85 for a plumber, which you agree to. A bill for $381.93, which covers the water what?
Heater?
No.
Water vault?
Water vault. Whatever that water vault is with Suffolk County. And then another bill for the hot water heater, which you acknowledge you should pay. That means that what you should have paid to him to close the case out was $1,072.37. For some strange reason, your office makes a mistake and sends a check for $690.44, which is sent to him but made out to the program.
Right.
He says, I can't cash this, and then you send him a second
But he
check.
did cash
just
it.
a
Here
second.
it is.
And then you send him a second check for $1,072. So you've now paid one to the program and one to him, and you're out $1,762.91.
Wait.
But now I'm hearing from them that you cashed both checks.
Yes, and here it is.
Yes, I did.
Here it is.
I don't even need to see it. He doesn't deny
He
it.
took a GOSR check and put it in his account when he was
So
supposed to
you
give it
kept
back.
both checks. How do you figure?
Your Honor, I received a check for $699.
Right, and then you complained, and
and
so another check was written. You weren't supposed to cash that check.
So when a house gets raised off the ground like that, is damage almost inevitable? Inside, the contents.
It's definitely possible, but I guess it depends on the situation.
What do you think? I mean, just think about it. When you have to raise the house, is it expected that stuff inside is going to get damaged?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like if you own the house, you should be aware that the house is being raised. You should move all the stuff out of it. You think that like a TV could fall over or stuff like that. You should kind of know to kind of take some stuff, valuables out of the house.
Good point. Good point. Going inside the courtroom.
I received a check for $690.44. And I was told, even though it was made out to the program, I was told by the program to deposit it in my account.
Oh, really? But
No
you
way.
told them that you can't cash it
No, I
because
didn't.
it's written to the program.
No, I
That's the reason they wrote another check.
No, that's
We-
that's
And
not
then
the
what
check.
you said, you admitted it in your complaint. You said, I'm keeping it because you owe me a bunch of money for all the things you broke. All right.
Here's the email from the punch list.
You found it?
Yeah.
Hand it over.
He's the
Yes,
PM.
New York, Sandy Help, NewYork.gov. And they say none of this is their responsibility. So you have zero evidence that your stuff is their responsibility, and you have evidence that you have overpaid him the $690.44.
Okay. I'm not disagreeing. I pay my
All right,
bills.
folks. On your claim against them, zero. And on their claim against you for the overpayment, I find in your favor in the amount of the $690.44. Good luck, everyone.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Well, after a lot of math done by the judge, the plaintiff comes out with nothing. That's the way it worked out. How do you respond to this?
I'm flabbergasted.
You are? Really?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, look, you heard the evidence.
Yeah.
They did nothing wrong in the eyes of the state. You cashed a check you shouldn't have cashed. You should have given it back to them. You know, you should not have filed this lawsuit.
Oh, really? Okay.
You'd have been ahead of the ball game. Okay, sorry. That's it.
Okay.
You got to give them $690 back. Here comes Mr. Tremarco.
Boy.
All right. This is
This is
something else.
unbelievable. You know, some people just don't appreciate what they get, and they try to add other items on to just get as much as they can.
Yeah.
It's terrible. You
Does
know.
this happen often? This kind of thing?
People try, sure. I mean, it's in some.
I mean,
some,
even your office has to get straightened out. Look, they overpaid.
Some
you know.
people are dishonest, and the judge was very fair, and I had a good time.
Yeah, well, good. I'm glad you did. And you get
Thank you.
$600 to boot. Okay?
Thank you.
Back. Thank you very much. Okay. This complicated case, Harvey. What do you think?
Okay, Doug, I mean, look, this is a good example. It's not enough just to prove damage. You have to prove the damage was caused by the defendant's negligence. And that will do it for this case. Litigants for the next case on the way into the courtroom right now.